everybody, welcome back to TI4 Qualifiers presented by Monster here at the North American Hub. We've got our last round of matches for the day, for the first day of play for the Chinese qualifier, and we've got CIS versus Orenda coming up. I'm Bazekip, joining me is Mont, Fear, and AC. Guys, any thoughts coming into this game?
Well, I think we're all a little exhausted. It's been a very long day. It's been an abrupt change of pace from what we had seen in a lot of the previous qualifiers. These teams play hard, they play long, and they don't give up. So CIS, CIS has been a part of a lot of long games, so I'm sure they're getting exhausted. Orenda, we just got to look at a little up and down, to say the least. Okay. But I think CIS comes in favored pretty heavily here.
Yeah, I'd agree. Honestly, I got a chance to watch CIS a little bit earlier today, and they had June, who was on the Wind Ranger, in kind of that farming role, and he hit so many freaking ridiculously good shackle shots, and he's such a highly skilled player, I feel like, in this tournament. The thing is, around him, do they have enough? Is Black going to be enough? Is the support, are they going to be there for June and the rest of the players? That's the question. Against Orenda, I definitely have to give the favorite to CIS here, so.
Yep. I actually haven't seen Orenda play yet. I've been casting every match but Orenda. And CIS, they've been looking shaky.
Yeah.
They have been looking. Some games they looked okay, but relatively shaky. But I heard Orenda's looking even worse.
Yeah.
So I give this one to CIS as well, but we could have a close game.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, CIS coming off the back of a loss to LGD CDEC, so I'll see if that's shaken them at all. I think their overall score right now is 1-3, so this could actually be a pretty important match for them to win. But draft's underway, guys, so we're going to pass it over to Fear and AC and take it away.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back in the Chinese Qualifiers North American Hub coverage presented by Monster Energy. Fear and I right back on the mic together. Fear just got done doing a set with Fogged, so we're coming down towards the end of our run here on day one. And yeah, man, it's been a journey, and it's you and I kind of joked about it on Twitter that it seems like there have been so many epic games throughout the Chinese qualifier so far, except the ones we cast, and those are 20-minute curb stompings.
Yeah, all the games we cast seem to be the raffle stomp games of the tournament, but hopefully we'll get a little better game this time around. But I've been seeing a ton of OD. We've been OD.
The old dirty making a comeback, man.
And I mean, I don't understand. Like, in the first game we did see it, it made a lot of sense to me with the Invoker pickup and the Tracer, and they didn't really have a way to deal with it. In the last game I just casted, it went against a Razor, but I felt like they forced that Razor pick so hard they ended up putting two supports that normally don't like to be in the support position in that support position.
Right.
So that's the thing that OD, it kind of screws your draft up if you don't know what you don't have an actual planning. But I feel like this game in particular, CIS has a well-rounded lineup, and if they do want to pick a counter like Razor, they have a good opening for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the OD comes out early this time. CIS banning out the Pugna, and we saw just how lethal that can become. So very wise to keep that combination off the board. We're going to have a pair of good roamers in the Moran and the Sand King out first for CIS, while the Tree, who seems to be really the flavor of the qualifiers across all regions, at least for the most part, he makes his appearance, as you said, with the old dirty. But yeah, I mean, it's CIS we know because they have Black. Generally, they like to get him farm and put him on hard farmers, but we've actually been seeing them change that up some, and I really think that works to their benefit. We've seen him go mid. We've seen him on heroes that, while they do love their farm, are still very effective in moving early, like a Slark. We saw him run that fairly effectively as well in that insane game that led the day off. So, yeah, CIS, I really like the way they're looking through the quality. They've actually surprised me.
Yeah, and to some extent they have. They also surprised me that one game how bad the draft was, but surprised nonetheless.
Yep.
But I think this time they've got a well-rounded draft, and I think they're taking a safe approach now throughout the rest of the tournament. Just ban that Pugna so it doesn't come up and bite them in the ass again.
Yep, totally agree. We'll wait to see what they're going to end up tacking on with the Sand King and the Marana. And really, at this point, there's not a whole lot we can talk about because, you know, when it comes to Orenda, like, I saw a little bit of them. I don't know their tendencies inside and out.
Right.
CIS, we could talk about what they've done before. But for the most part, Marana and Sand King is just very ambiguous. I mean, OD you can predict reliably will be mid, but even that is a little bit shaky. You can do some weird things with your draft in the second and last phase, where you can send him solo safe or something like that.
Yeah, he can run safe lane or mid, but that's pretty much it for that hero. And he's a really strong solo safe lane if you know what's down there and you run that aggressive tri lane, so that is a possibility they can do. They're just going through the bans right now. Panda's going to be banned out. Really, that's actually really the flavor of the Chinese qualifiers,
sure.
I feel. Chinese teams love Panda because they love that 5-man early team fight, and Panda's probably one of the best heroes in the game fighting early, so banning that out, always a smart decision, I feel, when playing against Chinese teams. And we're going to find out what CIS wants to pair up with this Mirana Sand King combination that they have already. Razor's still in the pool. That could be a good option for them if they want to deal with this Outward Devour. Do we still have a Nyx in the pool? Also in the pool? Another good pick that they could pick up. Those are the top 2 that I think of that could be really good for CIS.
Yeah, there are plenty of counter picks. As you said, those by far are the top 2. And really can only, bounce conjecture around. I remember there were a lot of teams who, Fnatic is one that comes to mind when they saw an OD. Occasionally they would throw something like a last pick Lone Druid at you, and then they would lane the Lone Druid mid. But all right, finally we're getting moving as CIS is going to, one would think, be foregoing their second support pick, assuming that is a core Mirana with a support Sand King. They'll go with an off-lane pick in the Clockwork, and looks like Orenda answered suit, an off-lane Tidehunter perhaps.
Yep, Tidehunter, one of my favorite heroes actually in the offlane this patch. If you're
so good.
Yeah, he can do well in the laning phase because that anchor smash makes it so he takes almost no damage. And on top of that, you can stack the ancients.
Yep.
So if you do fall behind and you do get that level 7 up, you can actually just go farm ancients right away and come back quite admirably. We're gonna have the clock as well. Kind of been falling off, not gonna lie. I haven't been seeing a lot of Clockwork,
Not a ton.
but it's pretty good on Dire still. It guarantees that that's a hero that can get experience on the offlane. And there's not many heroes on Dire that can do that, so that will secure their offlane, and maybe that's something they want to prioritize after losing so badly to HDT in the laning phase. And we're gonna have a Morphling pickup. So that actually, is that a... How are they going to lane that? Is that a mid-morph?
Yeah, I was thinking that could be a mid.
It could be hard against OD, though, but he will have the base damage. But once you start getting right-clicked a few times and you have no mana to waveform, it could be a problem. So I actually don't really want to see morph mid, but in theory, it could work. I've just never seen the matchup before.
Yeah, you can actually... Their lineup does have some flex to it. I mean, mid-Clockwork back in the day used to be a thing. Like you said, Clock has kind of fallen off, and giving prioritization of him of that level to give him mid usually isn't something you can expect. But the Mirana can certainly mid fairly well, and she'll suffer from being banished, but it won't affect her damage output.
No,
so,
it won't.
So that could be an option as well. But Orenda going with Team Green, by the way. I always love when that happens.
Oh, purple.
Yep, there you go. I was actually just getting ready to say, there are some very high-priority supports that have been foregone so far by both teams. The Shadow Demon is there, the Dazzle's there, the Bane is there if you wanted to try to tack that on with the Mirana. And looks like both teams, I mean, obviously they're taking their time and talking it over, especially CIS, who has burned through the vast majority of their bonus time at this point. But for the most part, I feel like Orenda came into this with a fairly straight and concise game plan because they've been drafting quickly. Yeah, I actually like it a lot too.
Their draft is really good, and CS could have their supports. I mean, I've already casted 2 support Mirana games, so that's not completely out of the window. And after that last game where they ran support and Mirana and Nyx, I mean, I don't know. I've seen it all, to be honest with you. So if that's what they want to do, I'm not surprised at this point. But I would like to see that Mirana, and at this point, kind of be their mid for the most part. I don't think Morphling will be the best choice there. In theory, it could work, but I have a feeling it will struggle. Mirana will always struggle there, but she will get her levels, maybe hit a couple arrows, and she can do decent against OD. But the base damage discrepancy is still going to be huge. CSS does not go for like a direct counter to this OD, which is a little surprising to me, but they still have one last pick. They could still go for that counter and throw the Mirana on the support role. Wouldn't be too bad. Whereas Orenda, they have a well-rounded lineup. The Treant Protector, and on top of the Dazzle, very strong combination. Nobody dies, basically, with that. Tidehunter, very hard to kill as well. You have OD, high armor. That Astral as well can save heroes, buy time for a Grave or a heal or Leech Seed, whatever you want to do. So Orenda's going to be fairly hard to kill, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like, I'm just continuing to look at this. Like you said, Orenda just has a lineup. Basically, they can save each other so effectively. Dazzle can Grave, OD can Astral, as you said. And, Tidehunter, a big reset button. So CIS.
That is support Mirana, I think. I think they're going to run the Venomancer solo mid against OD.
I think you're right. And I have no problem with that, but I can tell you I've seen this enough across multiple scenes to tell you one thing. Venomancer mid is fine, but you need to have a game plan with what you're going to do with the levels and experience he gets, and he needs to leave that lane sooner rather than later. Once you get him to whatever window you're trying to get him through, be it a certain level of farm, be it a certain item you really want, be it anything, whatever your metric is, don't just let him sit there and try to farm himself into relevancy as a carrier or as a big-time damage dealer. It just doesn't work.
Right, it really doesn't. And one thing I've seen as well, you try doing the Veno mid, it has failed a lot for me as well. I haven't seen it do much. I've also seen it be pretty effective as well. You roam in like a Sand King or something like that, you hit the Gale after the first Astral, and you can get an easy kill on him too. But it's hit or miss for the most part, and CIS really has to make this work, or else I feel like just due to the nature of the lineups, they're going to be on the back foot.
Where I've seen mid Venomancers really have the most effectiveness is they yep, there's the Lone Druid. That's
I don't like that for the main reason of I don't think OD and Lone Druid complement each other at all.
Well, you've got a lot of team fight with OD, Tidehunter, Tree and Protector, and Dazzle, and then suddenly it's like, oh, and here's a solo split pusher and or a single target DPS.
Maybe that's what they're looking for. It's like our lineup's lacking tower killing abilities. So maybe if somehow this OD and Lone Druid, which shouldn't happen, are off to a good start, Orenda could win this game very early, but the later it goes on, I think CIS with this Morphling is going to be pretty solid. But they do have the support Mirana, so it is kind of all in on the Morphling here as well. Lone Druid, weird pick. It can work out, but very weird pick for me.
I think, I mean, again, just the mid Venomancer throws a curveball, and the CIS, if they do what we were talking about, and it seems like the times that I've seen it work the most are where you go, okay, we're going to send the Venomancer mid, he should be able to last in and get levels fairly well. We're going to get him to 6, and he's going to work on a mechanism early, or something like that. And then they move him out, and that would make sense if you then rotate in, say, a Sand King, who's maybe lacking in levels, maybe needs some gold, he can always jungle if you need to. But for the most part, just freeing that mid lane up at some point, and instead of just trying to get, I've seen so many wonky builds. I've seen mid Venomancers rush Scepters and go straight up Blink and try to be a big initiator. And you know what? It just really doesn't work out that often at this level. It really doesn't.
Plot twist, Lone Druid's going mid.
All right, then. Well, so.
That's a hero that's actually really good against Venomancer mid, especially when you start stacking those Plague Orgs. He can just right-click him down. And Venomancer, you can't really harass, or if you do hit a Gale on top of the Lone Druid, you're probably still going to lose the right-click war if he gets that Orb of Venom up. So I do like how they're laning this. They're putting the OD against the Clockwork too, so looks like they just went for this Lone Druid pick just to go all in on the laning phase. And but just being this aggressive tri-lane, they have to succeed up here. There's no plan B. They can just rotate down maybe to the OD, but OD and Lone Druid are heroes that want to get full experience in lane. They don't want to share. So this aggressive tri-lane is going to be super important for Orenda. But if they can make it work, they're going to capitalize on almost every lane here.
And it looks like, just to make sure you're aware, we're using your monitor, Fear.
Oh, I was unaware of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I'm not sure what the issue is on the dedicated obs, but we're going to be letting you spectate for a little while. And the lanes are going to take shape, and we're going to wait. I was actually going to run through the lineups, but right now it seems like we could have some blood in the soil, as we've got a couple hanging around mid right now looking to make something happen. That's going to be Demons and AO on the Mirana Sand King. And, the big weakness of the Lone Druid mid is he has no escape. And if you get on top of him, he is going down skis.
But they don't even have a smoke, so how do they even kill him here?
Yeah, I think they're maybe thrown by this a bit.
Yeah,
there's the smoke. They just bought it.
They just bought a smoke, but that's not efficient at all. They know they're missing, and Black is going to be hurting really hard in this top lane. He can't do anything. He can just leech experience. And meanwhile, in bot lane as well, this should be free farm for OD once he picks up a couple levels. Clock will be okay for now, if he can get a couple burns off too, and it looks like on top lane, they will be going in on him.
Black going to be caught with the leech seed from behind. He's going to waveform up under his tower and still dies. Yi drawing first blood. Tell you what, man, that is not what you want. That's not the start you want your Morphling to have. You need him to have an impact on the game sooner rather than later against this lineup. You cannot be giving up deaths like that.
No, you definitely cannot. And this bottom lane as well, going back to it, it's really going to rely on how many cogs this Clockwork can get off before he gets all his mana burned.
Down at bottom, we can see OD certainly doing quite well for himself, and the Astral should come into play sometime rather soon, but the rest of the lane seeming kind of calm. And the Lone Druid's actually doing well. And like you said, this is a matchup that favors the Lone Druid quite a lot. They're going to go ahead and Gale him, but there's no one to come out. Like, that's a Gale, I guess, just for damage. And yeah, they're just going to trade this out. The Bear's right on his tail, but won't be able to catch up with him. Here comes Demons. And, Yim's in trouble. He is slowed, needs to get back. He hung around way too long. Now he's going to sell. Burrow Strike's there, though. Couple of little pincers, not even twice, just one auto attack, and down he goes. So CIS gets one back right there.
Yeah, and I think we had Mirana dying as well on the top lane to that aggressive tri lane in the meanwhile. So 2-1.
And yeah, I think we're actually. Are we okay? Yeah, we are back onto this one. Okay, cool. So forgive us, guys. It's been a long day, and hope you guys have had as much fun as we have. Though it's always a blast. 2-1, Orenda off to a decent little start here. How do you feel about the lanes so far and the way they're panning out?
Orenda is off to a great start. They got the first blood on the Morphling. They were able to get a kill as well on. Who did they just kill? Did they kill mid? I'm not sure if they got the kill on him.
No,
but
they killed Mirana.
Alright, but anyways, it's still really good for Orenda here. They got the lanes they want right here. Tide's doing exceptionally well in this lane. So this laning phase is definitely favoring them.
In the jungle, Yee. Auto attack down. This is what we were talking about during the draft. The roam potential of a Mirana Sand King is gigantic even very early in the game. And they're putting it to use. They've got 2 levels now apiece off of pretty much nothing but kills. They've spent very little time in the lane. Screw that. Sand King's level 3.5, so he can actually go to the jungle. No, he's actually gone 2 points into Burrow Strike again. I wonder why. Like, what do you think?
Because he's roaming. They just popped another smoke and they're going again. He's not even going to jungle this game. He's just straight up roaming.
Seems very all in, don't you think?
Yeah, it is, and especially because like they're all in on this Morphling in 2, and he's at 1 CS. Like he has 1 CS.
1. He and Dazzle have identical CS at 4 minutes in. The Venomancer in trouble, as Dazzle has made an appearance. Jim doing what he can right-click-wise. Bear right-clicking a bit as well, but the Shadow Wave, if it had gotten a little bit extra damage, would have been enough to bring him down. Instead, he survives. And this is what I'm talking about all in. CIS has had this Mirana and the Sand King hanging around now for a long time. They have not done anything. They smoked and did 0.
They literally just smoked and did nothing.
Yeah, just ran in circles right around that ward they just dropped.
They have to make something happen with this. They want to go on bottom, but that's not an easy kill. Like, no. OD is not going to be easy to kill unless they're able to get through. There is a tree eaten over there, so they can go for the dive.
Getting dove hard under his own tower. There's going to be the Leech Sleet on top, and Black's going to take another spill. Morphing strength, but not quickly enough. That's twice now. Black has died in the first 5 minutes. They're wasting time on their supports, and basically they're not doing a decent job at all of protecting their hard farmer. This is not going well.
They're literally running around doing nothing, actually, right now. Mirana's looking for an arrow over on the side lane. The Cog's going to push him back, but so much wasted time here. Yeah. So much wasted time. While they're safe lanes just getting massacred. You can't just pick a Morphling and be like, yo, Morph, go ahead and sit against this aggressive tri-lane and try to get what you can out of it. That's not really how the hero works.
3. That's ridiculous.
They might be able to get a pick here. The patience from them... It won't even be worth it. Oh,
yeah. At this point, they have to get this. Oh, good Astral. And in the meantime, he comes back out. The rest are going to pursue him. I actually was expecting a reaction there. I'm surprised no one TP'd him, but yeah, he's just hustling. There's going to be the leap ahead from AO. He's going to eat his way through the trees. Oh, and he got caught by the Slow Ghost. But it's going to slow the Mirana down as well, so unable to pursue through. He did have 5 wand charges, or magic stick charges if he needed them, and didn't even have to spin. Look at Black! Black going to have to wait for him again. And let's see. Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and auto-attack him a few more times. But for the most part, CIS is being bullied, and what little space they have, they're not making use of. And just think about all the time they did to try to set up that failed gank on OD. Imagine if the Sand King, who now just finished Arc Boots, imagine if he had been jungling during that time, where he could be towards his Blink Dagger.
It would have helped a lot. I feel though with the pressure Orenda's doing, they would have came in the jungle and maybe harassed him.
Yeah, good point.
I really feel like he needed to get a couple ganks off this game, and he just kind of ran around doing nothing. I felt like they had to dive mid, force a reaction. Even if you get them to TP, it's going to be hard to counter initiate because Lone Druid's not really here that can lock you in place in front of the tower while others can TP. So you can just force people off the top lane and give a little space to this Morphling who literally has no space. Does he have boots coming out on the courier? It looks like, yeah, he has boots, but that's it to his name. We're approaching 6.5 minutes in, and he just has boots and a magic stick.
I'll tell you who's really winning out here is that Tidehunter. ZYF is sitting atop the CS board right now. He already has up Arc Boots and
they're going to be going on Tide here. Do they have the damage? The hook is there.
Yep, hook's going to help, but there's Dazzle. There's the Ravage as well. He's going to turn it around on all 3. June's in trouble. Here comes the Mirana, though, and June going to turn back around. The Tide is so damn tanky. They honestly, with that many of them, they still couldn't even touch him. He's going to make it away with just about half a health bar.
Yeah, I was wondering if they could even kill him, and I guess we have our answer. Clock almost ended up dying out. He got away with 8 HP. Looks like in mid lane as well.
Down in mid, going to have an engagement. Inflame with that DD, still not able to do anything, and he got rooted just in time for Yi to show up and punish him. As the bear continuing the chase. Can he stay in range? He's staying up on the high ground. One more. No, he's going to need at least one more. The slow from the poison sting may end up saving him by the time all said and done, and it will. So that early investment, don't even know how many points he has into it. Yeah, he's actually just got one. That's all he needed, though.
Almost got a kill there. That would have been a really big kill for Lone Druid. He was able to dodge arrow too. That would have been a really clutch arrow if that actually hit, but he's able to micro the bear while moving his hero as well from the arrow. It's a good play by him. And still, it's just Black. He's just getting gushed on top lane and just getting completely bullied in this lane. There's nothing he can do. And Morph, I've played a lot of games with this hero, and this hero really struggles if you don't get anything in the early game. He doesn't come back very well. Not at all.
Yeah, he's not, it's deceptive. He seems like a flash farmer just because, once you get level 6, you can replicate across the map very quickly, and Waveform is a nice AoE damage ability, but he really isn't that much of a flash farmer until he's almost so built that he doesn't even need the flash farm anymore, you know what I mean?
He just needs so many items. Yeah. This is his main problem. The hook's going to go on top lane, but do they have the damage again? I don't know if they
with
do.
demons there, they might. Just look at this, though. And now there's going to be living armor, but yeah, finally. And I don't know.
The tree's coming with the leech seed.
Yeah, he's coming. He's actually going to end up regenning off of that. Yi there, the two big guys staying between the trees and protecting each other. They may kill Black. ZYF trying to run. Black's in trouble. Finally, a burrow strike finishes it off. But Black able to stay alive just by the skin of his teeth. Yi knocked back under his own tower by the cogs. But that was a 3-on-1. And then the tree showed up, and they just about got one kill on Black. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was really ridiculous. I was really surprised that Dazzle didn't have a TP, because if Dazzle would have been there, Tide would have been just fine. But the tree, they did have the potential to turn that, but just barely. He almost turned it, but they wasn't able to get it in the end. And Venomancer is going to be posting up in mid lane. This is what Veno does. Max's words. Puts a bunch of plague wards down here and constantly pressure. You always have to have one person sitting here at all times to deal with this. It's nice to bring some pressure, but Veno with all this farm doesn't really do that much.
Nope. And this is kind of what I was talking about. He's reached that point now. Arrow. Oh, the nice shot. He actually backed off into it. Yim's there. There goes the ulti. And he actually doesn't have enough mana for a grave. But he will be falling back. Tree's right there to help him out. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and use his charges, and he should be just fine. Meantime, Ty gonna solo Ravage just to try to bring down this Venom. Does he have a gush? No, if he didn't have a gush, I'm not sure why he did that. Yeah, it was on cooldown.
Yep, Ravage use for just about nothing there. And we have Mirana just sitting in the trees again, jungle sniping people. And OD on bottom lane has his Midas complete, so that's got to be a worry for them at this point. This OD has gone unchecked. Mirana, four of them have over 40 CS right now, and it's only the Venomancer right now with over 40 CS.
And the Morphling, in the meantime, has roughly the same net worth as Dazzle. That's the state of this game. Black going to be pursued out, and just look at ZYF punish him. Just flat out intimidating him and chasing him all the way up lane, continuing to anchor smash him. There's no tower to keep him safe. He has to morph almost everything into strength. And finally, he's left alone, but he needs help, and he needs it now.
But with the way they pick these supports, he can't get any help. Like, I don't understand why teams are being so greedy with their supports and picking. Like, if you're gonna be greedy, it looks like we're gonna go for a solo kill on here.
Yep, Yi caught by June. This one should be easy, and will be. So June finally able to get something working. CIS taking the kill lead, but again, it's really the farm rates and more importantly the item progression. Midas up on the Lone Druid, Midas up on the OD. At very little punishment. In the meantime, the Morphling has next to nothing, sitting at 26 CS and walking his way back to the fountain right now. In mid, they are beginning to push a bit, but the Spirit Bear's there to help pull creeps and force this back. And if you're on the side of CIS, do you feel like this is the right plan, or do you think maybe they should start to rotate that Veno out?
Veno can't really rotate anywhere. I mean, you can go for a couple ganks, but who's he going to gank at this point? It's hard for him to gank. Like, he can apply the most pressure, and yeah, and Black is just going to be bullied out, and he's going to be going top to help him out, but he's just going to go and maybe throw a Plague Ward and go back mid. I mean, the most pressure that he can apply is by pressuring mid. That's all he can do. And, like, I was talking on bottom lane, it looks like we do have the Epicenter.
Oh, going to be spread out between the two?
They're just tanking it.
Yeah, why? There's going to be a Grave, that's why, because they've got a Dazzle who's going to show up and help him out. Now they're going to try to engage on demons, but June is there with the hook. And yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure exactly why they decided the best option was to walk into the Epi. There's a Shadow Wave that does good damage. Yi has no mana, though. And besides,
Mid lane as well, too. We've got a... Who's going down here? It looks like the Lone Druid's going down here, too, the Venomancer. It was a close man fight, but... Oh, that was ugly.
Yep, and... Things are kind of coming apart all of a sudden for Orenda. They won the laning phase so hard, but the decision-making is becoming a little bit suspect.
Indeed it is. Not too much to say about that. But Black, in the meanwhile, is getting some farm. One thing I do want to talk about a little bit is we were talking about the Mirana, when it can be effective, and sometimes it has to be effective, and it looks like, well, does he have ultimate on OD? He might go for the kill here, actually.
Yeah, I think he is. He's eating a lot of damage. You better drop it now. And still, there it is. Arrow! Woo-hoo! Nipped him in the tail feathers. And does manage to make it back to the safety of Dazzle, his loving Shadow Wave. So a little bit of a return kill there for Orenda. Would love to take a look at the gold graph if we can. I just want to see, that's about as expected, I think. But CIS has gone a long way to cut into that, I think. This had potential to get out of hand, and so far they're keeping it at least mid-game and manageable.
Yeah, and they're going to go for that mid tower. But Mirana's been one of those heroes for me. I've been saying I don't like it as a support, but a lot of the games we have seen, it has been successful. Either it's really successful, or I feel like it doesn't really do much. And especially, she's going for a Midas, too. That's a little optimistic there. Like, they're totally just... This morph has to be really sad. He doesn't have support. When you pick Imran or something, you can't help morph. Like, they have no heroes that can actually help morph this game. Like, they don't have that Shadow Demon who could help behind him, or the Dazzle. They have Imran instead who's going to try and create space, and June's going to be going into the trees here. He has mana soon.
Yep, OD right there with him. And banging away. Here comes the Mirana. Arrow's going to connect, though. That catches Dazzle. There's going to be the Astral to follow it up. And the right click certainly present. And yeah, no detection. Wow. I thought maybe they were going to be showing up with a sentry ward, but no one there to drop it. Up at top, looks like we could have an engagement as it's CYF continuing to bully in and out of lane. Finally, at bottom, we're going to see the epicenter go off, but guess what? Didn't do a whole lot. Arrow is on the mark, though. Is it just me, or is Orenda just giving away every bit of the lead they got with their draft?
Yeah, they had such a good start, but they're just getting picked off. And the only good thing they have going from this, Tide does have Blink now, so maybe he won't airball another Ravage. But on that top lane, he's just been completely and utterly bullying Black. And Black is sitting at 50 CS in 15 minutes, which is very weird for him in particular, because he's known for farming super fast. And mid lane, it looks like we might lose our tower here, too. Like, it could be a deny here. We'll see if we can get it. The glyph is going to be deployed.
There's the Gale, but yeah, got the bear right there. Can he
time
it?
Tricky. Does not get it.
Veno brings it down. Like, honestly, as bad as 60 CS is at this point, he's right there with OD now. And he's where he was, he had 3 CS in 5 minutes. The fact that he's caught up this much and made up this much ground is actually kind of impressive.
It is indeed, but luckily for Orenda, they do have the double Midas advantage, so they can give up some kills here and there if they like. I mean, of course they don't like to, but if it happens, if it's okay. And they've got a haste rune on the Venomancer. They're going to go for the Ravage will be deployed.
Yep, down at bottom, Ravage goes off, Cogs are down, and Morph, it's actually not Morph, that's the Venomancer, scuttling to safety with that haste rune, so yet another pointless Ravage. Literally got nothing out of it.
Yeah, these Ravages have been underwhelming, to say the least. They still don't have Root up on this tree. He's level 5. That's actually unbelievable. Dazzle's doing well on levels, but we don't have a
He is so far behind. Everyone else on the side of CIS is level 8. And now they're going to take a tower. And I'll tell you what, if they start to whittle away at the map control of Orenda and they can actually choke this map off, they're going to be all right. Like, the Venomancer is at the top of the net worth. Behind that are 3 heroes from Orenda, the Tide, the OD, and the Lone Druid, but there's not a huge drop-off between those heroes and the Clockwork and the Morphling at this point. That's problematic, and now the Mirana finishes her Midas, and yes, there are 2 Midases up on Orenda, so they do have that to fall back on, but it's not going to do a lot for them if they end up losing map control.
Yeah, especially if they keep taking these fights, and they're not even taking fights, they're just kind of getting picked out for the most part, and they're using Ravage defensively. The first defensive Ravage was great, but after that, he hasn't really been able to get much, and they're going to get 2 towers out of this, just because of that one Ravage, and they don't even get a trade. They're going to be back in time to defend mid. So, yeah, they're clawing their way back in this game.
I think this is echoing the concerns we both had when we saw the Lone Druid pick. Like, you have this team that is predicated on mass teamfight, right? And the OD, yes, he drops the hammer, yes, he right-clicks one target like hell. But other than that, it's a lot of control heroes, a lot of save-your-ass heroes like a Dazzle. Yes. And what you really needed was a hero that could get a little bit more active, that could actually start to fight earlier, even if it was kind of a semi-carry. Instead, they went with the Lone Druid, and he's just looking for farm, and in the meantime, we're seeing towers drop, we're seeing fights get lost, and especially if Tide is going to whiff on his Ravages, that is basically about a third of your entire combat potential at this level. If that's down, you really can't come fight.
No, you can't. With those two heroes, like you said, they're just heroes that don't want to come and fight early. They both basically do the same thing. They win their lane, then they just farm for the rest of the game, so they can't actually fight. And they have the mech up on the Venomancer, so they're just going to keep on pushing every single tower. At this point, Black is like, you know what, this is better. I don't even care if I'm in a lane farming anymore. I'm actually getting more out of going with you guys and going for towers. And this Mirana at this point, she finished her Midas and has an urn on top of it because those 2 tower kills. So I was like, okay, this is an optimistic Midas pickup, but she actually got it because of those towers she was given.
Yep. There's going to be the engagement. OD caught out, and CIS looking to punish them again. Weave goes down, but yeah, they're going to end up getting demons. There's a Ravage that actually catches multiple targets. That's one they desperately needed. Problem is, there's no follow-up. The Lone Druid's giving them nothing, and Veno deploys his ultimate. All they can do is scurry for safety. Dazzle's going to use a Grave on himself, but I don't know that that's going to make that big a difference as CIS is ahead of the fight. He ends up dying anyway. An attempted TP behind is successful. June now on top of the Lone Druid. ZYF bounced out by the cogs. And yeah, Orenda, there's an arrow. Nope, missed everything. And ZYF actually almost blinked into it. But yeah, they end up getting the tier 1, but they end up giving away 2 kills and a tier 1 of their own to get it. And the problem is, Ravage is now on CD. OD is in no shape to fight. Lone Druid's down, and Dazzle's not available either. This is a tier 2.
Yeah, they have no damage. They have no follow-up. With this Lone Druid and the OD, they have no follow-up for the Ravages. And on top of that, the 2 supports aren't really heroes that follow up with damage. They're kind of like laning supports. OD is going to be hanging up on the high ground here. I'm not sure what his plan is. Maybe he's looking to get... They might try to initiate here.
Yep, here we go. They're going to come out, Gush and Anchor Smash. Leap gets her back to safety. OD. Oh, good. Burrow Strike. Arrow is on the mark as well. There's no way to follow it up, but Dazzle now back up, throws out a good weave, cut at least 4 targets. So this is going to be a fight they're going to want to get away from. Hell, not if you're June. He just wants to drop the cogs. There's an Overgrowth that catches a couple, but another good Burrow Strike, caught 3. Dazzle has to grave himself. The follow-up damage isn't there. OD drops the ulti, but CIS is actually engaging this. June's still alive. There's going to be a mech to keep him up. Not for long, though, as the OD... Check that! Demons is going out of his mind. He has hit some of the best Burrow Strikes you could ask for in this fight, and it's the only reason this has swung back in favor of CIS. ZYF going to be the next to eat it. That's 4-0 on the back of an outstanding performance by Demons.
Yeah, they came, like, this is so fast. They came back into this game so quickly. It was looking so bleak for them at one point. Yep. Then all of a sudden, they just keep getting kills, winning fight after fight, and...
They realized they could just group. Yeah. Like, we don't want to screw the lanes. we don't need our morphling in top lane. Just get us 5 and go win a bunch, and just the standard. Our Sand King is going to go completely bonkers and single-handedly demolish your team with Burrow Strikes.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say other than like they're taking fights. They have no damage for the follow-up Ravage, and CIS is just bullying them at this point.
I can't say enough about Demons though. He in that fight alone, he hit
play.
He hit two hero Burrow Strikes, 1 if not 2 3 hero Burrow Strikes, and saved 2 teammates that I can count that I actually saw and called. There was 2 Burrow Strikes. He saved the Clockwork like twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. And then a good follow-up with a Mirana arrow as well, just locking down that OD for as much as he possibly could within that team fight.
The old Dirty having a bit of a struggle this game. And in the meantime, guess who's up at top of net worth? Mr. Black. He's in second position now. He's actually behind his own Venomancer. And Veno is like, yeah, I'm fat. I'm a carry. Watch me. I can carry. As he moves in with June and looks to take himself a Roshan.
The good news, though, for them, they do have the Relic up on the bear now, so that Radiance is not too far away, and I feel like that's absolutely massive.
Yeah,
like whenever they need damage badly, and with that Radiance, they will have that damage with them. But they've gave up so much already. Will it be enough? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. If they get off another good Ravage shot with the Radiance on top of an OD and they put it together, maybe they have enough items to take team fights now, but like I said, they've given away so much right now. They do have all their core items up. They have the gym up. Venomancer, not sure what he had sent out to him. He should have more than that. Oh, he's almost got an Ags.
What I'm really kind of worried about right now for Orenda, like you said, the relic's up. How much gold does he have towards his actual radiance?
He's getting very close. He's like 400 away.
I was going to say, like, what worries me is they have no map control left. They only have one outer tier tower remaining. If they can bottle him up and just put him in that purgatory of waiting on that last piece of the big item, then that's devastating. Looks like he's going to be able to get it very soon, though, so that's a big deal. But honestly, if you're CIS, there's no reason to not just keep doing what you've been doing. It hasn't failed yet, and that's what they're going to do. They're rotating all the way up the top, and they're ready to clear the board of towers entirely.
And then an arrow, just going to miss. But they have a Lincoln Sphere and Morph, and the timing isn't that bad, to be honest with you. And considering, like, the laning phase, like, I was like, okay, we're 9-10 minutes in the game, and how many CS did he have? You can count it on, like, maybe one hand at that point. And now he has, like, a normal timing for a Lincoln Sphere for, like, a mid or something like that. It's not the fastest Lincoln Sphere ever, but with all the towers he got, he should not be this farmed whatsoever. But so he's caught up admirably, too.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, this is a game where Black died twice in the first 5 minutes and had 5 CS at 5 minutes. Like, the fact that he's at all at a competitive speed with his item progression speaks volumes, not necessarily about him. I mean, Black's a phenomenal carry, but about the adjustment that CIS was willing to make on the fly. They finally clicked. It's like, this isn't working, and Tide's kind of missing Ravages. So how about we just go fight every time it's down?
Right, and we do have Ags as well on the Venom. Oh, great, 4-staff up.
Yep, 4-staffed up.
That was the OD who did that.
And there's going to be the Ravage actually just spin on Inflame, and now he's going to get off his ulti and got everyone. Now they're going to come back in, and Demon's back in. Overgrowth is there. OD ulti's dropped. CIS is still hanging in and competing, but with that Radiance up, the longer these fights are drawn out, the more sketchy it gets for them. And yeah, they're going to have to finally pull back. And the way that ended up working out, the fact that Venomancer got off his ult is impressive as hell. But Orenda there finally, I mean, that was another questionable Ravage. The fact that he got really one target that mattered because the only other one was down at way back away from the steps, and they still managed to do okay there, that's actually a kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I thought that was going to go way worse for Orenda there because he got like a huge Venomancer ult off in front of everyone. But Dazzle is like one of the best heroes against Venomancer. That AoE heal, he just popped a few heals and counteracted most of the damage there. And they ended up just getting the Clockwork out of that, so that was a pretty good deal for Orenda. They didn't get the Aegis, so Morphling is up to, wow, he's up to 2,600 gold now. He's going to be up to his E-Blade in no time. And Morphling's the hero that's actually really good against Lone Druid. Once you get really farmed on him, you can just right-click down that bear really fast. Good news for them is Weave does work on the bear, so if they do a defensive Weave on all 5 heroes, for some reason it does give the bear armor too, so it'll be harder to bring down that bear than it normally would.
You think that's how it should be? You think it's alright that the bear gets armor from Weave?
I think it should be nerfed because I think Dazzle's already strong enough as a hero. I don't think it should work on summons. It works on whatchamacallit, familiars too and stuff like that. I think Dazzle's strong enough without that working too, but I don't think it can be very game breaking, I feel, if you just exploit it. But will they do it? Well, I don't see a lot of teams like actually put emphasis on it, but if they can do it, I think it is actually really a big deal.
As we can see, Weave being broken or not, CIS is certainly not worried about it, at least for the moment. They are at 10k gold ahead as of right now, which, again, given how that laning phase went, is honest to goodness impressive beyond words.
Yeah, it really is.
Like the fact that they not only have a lead, but have one this huge. And yes, the kill score and the towers tell you that, but if you just tuned in, you really missed a lot over the last 10 minutes. Just the complexion of the game completely reversed on the back of a few fights, and basically CIS realizing that when Ravage is down, there's nothing Orenda can really do to stop their push and stop their ability to man mode together. But still, the match continues. Black up there, up front, trying to farm. The rest of his team rotating down to bottom. I actually feel like with the Tidehunter Ravage down and the Aegis still up, they really should have been willing to press the issue more than they did.
Yeah, they still had that Aegis, so that could have been a good window for them as well. The one problem I have with Lone Druid as a hero is I feel like this is a hero you cannot play defensively.
Yeah,
I don't really see Lone Druid really be effective when it's played like turtling in your base. It feels very underwhelming when played like that, so if they keep having to turtle like this, Morph is going to get stronger and stronger, Venomancer is going to get tankier and tankier, and he's going to start going into like bigger items, maybe even Assault Cuirass or something like that, because he needs to start being a core at some point. And the Clockwork, he has a pipe up now, so I think they should probably press advantage out and probably go for another push before OD and Lone Druid get way too farmed.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, is with the Aegis still up and they knew Ravage was down, hang on, we're going to 290 pursuit up. They're going to try to jump him. And here comes the Tide to re-engage. And wow, Dazzle graved himself. I don't know if that was intentional or an accident. I'm going to guess an accident. It had to have been.
Double click, probably.
Yeah. But Black, like you said, the E-Blade is only about 250 gold away right now. And he is looking good, and those supports are not going to be in the best of shape to stand up to that kind of damage output. ZYF trying to do the Ancients, being challenged by the Marana and the Sand King. That was a wishful thinking arrow at best. But yeah, like, CIS is actually playing much too passively for my taste. I feel like they're letting a big opportunity slip, and like you said, hang on, this could change it. There's the cogs down, and okay, June, he engaged, and I guess realized it wasn't the best idea. There's Venomancer. He's going to get the ulti off. Wow, 2-target Ravage. June's going to end up dead here. Force Staff buys him a little bit of time, but he does end up burning down. In Flame now, the one caught as the Overgrowth locks him down. There was a weave just in case there was a counter push, but look at top. Split pushing top is going to be Ale and Black pecking away at the tower tree using living armor as best he can. But all right, so it's going to be 46 and 34 seconds respectively for the Venomancer and Clockwork. As soon as they're back up, they should push. Agree or disagree?
Dazzle, bye-bye.
Yep.
They should push. That was a good 2 kills that they got there. They need them. I think it was worth the Ravage, but they do need to push. They're building items like Pipe and Mech, and the Aegis is actually going to be down. They don't have to push, I don't feel. They're going to have the Lincolns up on the Marana right now. She does have the gold. Sand King does have 2.3k. He could go, I feel like a Veil could be very good here. Especially with that Venomancer ult, it would be huge.
Yep.
So I feel like they could push right now, but I doubt they will. I think they'll probably wait till the next Roche and go again, get their next set of items up, because I doubt they're very afraid of this Lone Druid anymore. He is up to 3k gold now, probably going for that Assault Cuirass next. OD, I think he has a Hex flying out, so it's actually going to be a little more trickier to make this next push against a Hex, because they don't actually have any defensive heroes to save. They don't have like a Stampede to get someone out that gets Hexed instantly. They don't have a Disruption of that nature. So Hex is very strong when you don't have any of those defensive abilities.
Right.
So it could be risky for them to push up if they actually see this OD does have the Hex. But they're going to go right as soon as they get the Hex. They're going to smoke out. He does have the Lincolns, so they're going to have to pop it with a Shallow Grave or a Force Staff if they want to get this kill on Morphling.
And we're going to find out. Looks like they're hanging around the secret shop for the moment. Couriers actually just flew over there. He's dropping something off too. Yeah, it's going to be Black who's building a BKB.
Oh, they're going to catch out June here with the Hex instead of the Morphling. That's not who they wanted, but they'll take it.
All right, so Orenda fighting their way back in. Items coming out at a good clip, and the right items, more importantly, is, like you said, the Hex, a great pickup. The Assault Cuirass will be the build on the Lone Druid as he picked up his Hyperstone just moments ago. In the meantime, Marana finishing up some phase boots and a Lincoln Sphere. So we're getting close to 30 minutes now. We're solidly into the mid-game. Just based on composition alone, not necessarily where they are. Compositionally, which team do you favor moving ahead over the next 10 to 15 minutes?
I think it's fairly even, to be honest with you. I was worried a little bit for CIS because the Lone Druid and OD is pretty scary late-game combination together. But mid-on Chicken's actually just going to get walk by and snipe it. Why not?
Yeah, Black going to wait for him back up to the high ground after being rooted. And Yim has to pull back. Yeah, has a replicant if he needs it desperately, but doesn't look like it's going to be the case. And you know what? Some guys have all the luck. He's just going to find himself a H-screen.
Yeah, but going back to your question, I would say it would have been really scary, but Marana, I was criticizing, she's going for a Midas, you know. How greedy. That's never going to happen. She has a Lincoln Sphere up and now, and she is transitioning into a carry, so I actually do give CS the late game advantage here, along with that huge Venomancer that they have right now, who's just, where's he at? Oh, Black's just running around looking for that Dazzle, or the tree possibly. Yep. The tree's going to be there.
And replicates out immediately. So, Black, who had about as abysmal a start as you're ever going to see a genuinely tri-lane Morphling had. Like, other than just literally sticking him in the jungle and saying, kill jungle creeps at level 1, you're not going to see a Morphling in a professional game have a much worse start than he did. Now tops the chart in net worth over top of an OD and a Lone Druid, both with Midas, a mid-Venomancer, and a Marana with Midas. That's impressive no matter how you cut it, man.
I don't know what's more impressive, that Black was able to pull that off or Orenda allowed that to happen. Either way, it's very impressive.
Takes effort almost.
Yeah, it really does. But it looks like we're having Demons come out. He does go for the Veil. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Venomancer, I'm still waiting to see what he wants to do with that gold. The world is his oyster as far as items. Like, there's nothing he needs to go right now. He has the mech, the Ags. He can pretty much go anything. I think Assault Cuirass could be good for the team. Help push a little bit, get a little more damage. Do they have a medallion? I don't think they do. The medallion is a really good item against Lone Druid coming into the late game. You just put it on the bear and right-click it down, especially if they do get like a Desolator coming up on the next item on the Mirana and the Assault Cross on the Veno. They could just melt like all of their heroes, especially that bear.
I actually wouldn't mind a Hex on him, I don't think.
On which, on the Veno? Yeah, that's good too.
Yep, I think just having more disable and then late game you can build a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff.
Yeah, Hex isn't the greatest ability against Lone Druid, but it would be good against OD.
That poor bear just walked up, swiped it black, and lost half his health bar in the process because of shotgun. So, but anyway, Inflame going back to work. Black's gonna hook back up with him in the Roche pit, and this could be another Aegis. Roche freshly back up. Let's take a look at our gold graph and see where we stand by the metrics. Yeah, about where you would expect. CIS has given Orenda a little bit, but not given them enough. Black is just getting gigantic and only going to get bigger from here on out. Has 2 Lincoln Spheres he can rely on now to keep him alive even. So, I mean, if you're Orenda, you're aware of the item progression. You're probably even aware this Roshan's happening. They're actually coming through, but it's going to be way too slow. Arrow actually just missed one under cover of smoke. Let's see if they're actually going to try to challenge this. Inflame shows itself in the river a bit. But it looks like Orenda recognizing now's not the moment to go.
And he goes BKB.
Yeah.
Not bad, but... they might catch him here.
Yeah, never mind. He's going to come forward immediately. BKBs and ultis. Arrow shot uphill. That's going to connect. That got 290, and now he's going to be grave, but the rest of the team is caught up. June is wrecking havoc. There's going to be a Ravage that goes off. Epicenter is there, too, and trying to catch up with the rest of them after losing 3. Yim now caught out, and yeah, I said I thought that they would recognize now wasn't their moment. Good dodge of the arrow there. I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, it won't. The earn charge plus 1 auto attack. That's 4-0. Why would you hang there? Like,
I mean, I think the idea was good there from Odie. He forced him up, but he was too slow to hex him.
Yeah.
And he got the BKB off. Like, if he gets that hex off, maybe he kills him, and then they can back up or take the team fight. But that one misclick costed them a Veno in their face with an Aghanim's level 3 ultimate, which just wrecked them. So... little unfortunate there for them that he didn't get that hex off, but it costed him dearly.
Looks like CIS ready to capitalize on that mistake. Pecking away at the tier 3, there's a weave. Lone Druid is down though. With Lone Druid and OD down, they have quite literally 0 damage. That is
Ravage is down too. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the reason that seems so bizarre to me anyway is they're a team that is completely predicated on putting things together in a certain sequence. Otherwise, their lineup doesn't work. So you create the situation up. Hang on, they're going to come back out. And, yep, there's a Dazzle dead already. And now the follow-up, CIS, looking like they're ready to close this out as quickly as can. Okay, he just 290 just dropped that on top of 2 BKBs. You realize that?
Yeah.
Yep.
He did get the Sanking, though, in consolation prize, I guess.
But they may end up getting AO here. If they do, that'll be kind of a big deal. Nope, looks like he's going to be able to make it.
He'll get burned down to death. Oh, and the paw.
The paw. And they're chasing them out. They lose Rax there, and they're going to continue to pursue. But, yeah, that was... Anyway, they have a team that's so predicated on putting things together in the right sequence, and you create this kind of odd engagement where you force staff up the Venomancer, and then this ends up being the ultimate result of that, because you forced a fight that was going to be necessarily tough to predict.
Sorry, I can help myself. Alright, sorry, I just... BTS moment, guys. Tide goes down, boys. Tide goes down.
Tide Hunter. Questionable plays.
Very questionable.
All right, so the question of the hour. Trash can or clown shoes?
We have our answer. That was definitely a clown shoes moment if I've ever seen one.
All right, so CIS, despite the best efforts of Tide Hunter, looks to be in a position to.
Professional casting here on the NA Hub.
I'm laughing more.
He's actually crying right now.
I think I'm laughing more. One, seeing your face unexpectedly, you reacted is what got me started.
It was priceless.
And Mott drawing a question mark.
NA Dota in full force over here.
Oh my god. All right.
They're going to try one more defense. One thing we have to keep in mind is NA Dota does not give... I mean, NA Dota does give up. Chinese do not give up. They're going to go on black on top lane, but
All right.
meanwhile, they're going to be pushing this in.
Black is man-moding against the bear and got rooted, but it seems like he's going to be okay. They actually get inflamed behind that, and the rest of CIS is rotating over, though.
Yeah, but they're going to be going on this mid lane. They do have the Aegis on black still. He does have a BKB available with that Yasha. He's going in for the Manta, but he won't even need it at this point. This bear, he does have Assault Cuirass, but I didn't think it's going to be enough. Ravage is up, but will he even get it off? I don't even know where he's at right now. He's sitting in the background. He's down.
290. Next on the list, we saw the Venomancer land another good ult, and the rest of Orenda left to do nothing but be cleaned up. There's a Ravage.
Goodbye, Ravage, basically.
ZYF.
And the GGs.
Tried as hard as he could. I swear to God. Oh my God. I actually laughed more than you guys could hear. I had to hit the mute button at one point.
That was a funny moment for sure.
It was Mott drawing the question mark. Joining in the cast. Oh God, I've got tears in my eyes. Oh Jesus. The look on your face is even better than the sound is what I just happen to be looking at you and not the screen the moment you reacted.
It was worth the giggles. That play was no comment. No comment.
So
we're done. That's all.
All right. So CIS in a sub 40-minute game takes the win, and to be honest, the fact that they battled back as well as they did is truly impressive. Like we said, Black had 5 CS at 5 minutes. 5! And he ended up being on top of the net worth chart at like, what, 28? Something like that?
Something ridiculous. I still think it was a huge drafting error from CIS. Like, if you tried doing that against LGD or HGT or Dreams, any of these teams, you're going to get crushed. Like, they won't let you come back like that. So I feel like that's 2 games I've watched now where their draft has been extremely greedy. I don't feel like there's been any reason, but they did come back from it. So it was really well played how they just showed the move, how they chose to move even though they were so far behind, and how to come back. But I feel like they could be really strong if they just tighten up the screws a little bit in their drafting.
I'm sorry, I still got the giggles. I just keep thinking that question mark. It's been a long night, guys. I'm sorry, I've got the giggles. But yeah, you said it, man. Like pretty much top to bottom. Well, the thing about Orenda, their lineup, they actually had such a huge advantage, and they just never pressed it. Like they went Midas, they went greed, and the problem is like it was kind of greedy on both sides. It just worked out for CIS. They didn't get a lot out of their OD. They didn't get a whole lot out of their lone druid. And yeah, I think what it comes down to is what we talked about during the draft. The fact that when you looked at their team, they wanted to go fight, but then you had a hero who's like, oh yeah, and by the way, wait 30 minutes till I'm ready to fight.
Yeah,
and
2 heroes.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, guys, I think that's just about going to wrap it up from the studio. I'm AC, and this is Fear. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at AC, at AYESEE. And this is, once again, Fear, at FearDota, correct?
FearDota, yep.
There you go.
Me.
Make sure you check him out, guys, and make sure you stay tuned. Not necessarily now, because I think we're actually getting ready to sign off. I think the High Ground guys might have another game or 2 going. So if you want to keep up with them, make sure you pop over to their stream. But for now, in the main studio for the North American Hub, oh, they're moving it in here? All right, so they're kicking us out, and they're moving the High Ground guys in. That's how that's going to play out. So make sure you stay tuned as Fear and I take our exit. This has been the North American Hub coverage. It will continue next with the High Ground guys bringing us our last game. Do we have 1 or 2 games left? 1 game. So our last game of the whole night here at the North American Hub presented by Monster Energy. Stick with us. We'll be right back.